I think that I may have just built the perfect dividend portfolio for a beginner investor. And in this video, I'm going to go through the rationale of the companies that I've chosen. I'm going to go through the portfolio makeup. I've backtested this thing as well, so we can kind of talk maybe a blue sky scenario of what this portfolio might be worth in the future. Because let's face it, we're investing in these kind of companies because we want to have more money in the future. We'd like to generate, I guess, a passive income flow. I hate that word, passive income. But anyway, I think this video could be really, really helpful. But obviously, a bit of a disclaimer: when you're investing, your capital is at risk, and it's really important that, I tend to shy away from these kind of videos because when I do this kind of stuff, people will tend to copy the portfolio like it's perfect for them. This may not be perfect for you, so please do your own research. What's important here will be the rationale as I'll explain it, maybe some of the tools that I've actually used to build this, and maybe some of the back testing as well. And I'll be interested to hear from you guys. Are there companies that you would have replaced or put into this portfolio that I haven't? Leave those in the comments below, because I'll be really interested to know if there's any dividend companies that are on your radar that I have not actually included. So let's talk about the rationale behind this portfolio first and foremost, because I think that's important, especially within the context of what's going on right now. We've got a cost of living crisis, high inflation, we've got talks of recessions moving forward, we've got interest rates increasing, we're in a bit of a sticky wicket right now, we still have supply chain issues, all the stuff that you've heard and you know all about. So within this portfolio, what I wanted to do is I wanted to have a collection of companies that have a strong track record of paying dividends. So in other words, I've gone for dividend aristocrats. If you know anything about dividend aristocrat, it means that they are companies that have for a very long time paid dividends, and they've increased their dividends year on year. And the reason why that's important for me in this instance, building this for perhaps a first time dividend investor, is to kind of have a solid foundation of companies that are integral to the way of life that we essentially have. They provide services, they provide products essentially that we need. So when we go into the portfolio in a moment, you're going to see that there are 10 companies altogether. Now, I could have gone for 20 or so, but for the purpose of this video, I thought 10 would be just about right. Because I think even if you're a first-time investor and you're trying to select your own stocks, you're probably going to be thinking around about 10 anyway. Now, there is an argument to say that with 10 companies, you may not get the level of diversification to give yourselves a solid, I guess, foundation, right? You want different sectors, so on and so forth. The argument is you probably need between 20 and 25 to begin to diversify. But for the purpose of this video, we've just stuck with 10. So this is the portfolio right now. I've used Simply Wall Street as the means to basically aggregate these together and find out what the numbers behind this portfolio would be. So in here, you've got 10 companies. You've got 3M, you've got AbbVie, you've got AT&T, Chevron, Coca-Cola, ExxonMobil, IBM, Johnson & Johnson, PepsiCo, and Procter & Gamble. And if you've been following the news, Warren Buffett has been literally on a bit of a shopping spree in Q1 of 2022. And that reminds me of something that I said in a video literally last week. Did you catch this? Well, for me, the first thing that pops to mind is this saying by Warren Buffett: be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful. And if that statement is true, we have a pretty good indication of people being fearful right now in the fact that 81% of US adults are worried about a recession hitting this year. And I don't know about you, but if Warren Buffett is going out buying companies, and Chevron being one of them that I think he's increased his shareholdings in, I think now might be a good time to actually have a look at those kind of companies. But nevertheless, I wanted 10 companies within this portfolio, and the idea was to have a proven track record of generating an income. If you scroll down here into the portfolio summary, you can actually see that here as well. A proven income portfolio with a solid track record. Why? Because these companies are all dividend aristocrats. Now, these are the numbers that are interesting and I do want to go through. Look, these are the returns. So 1 year returns, capital gains at the moment are 3.22%. If you have a look at the dividend income, this is going to kick out a dividend income across the portfolio of 4.36%. You got a massive currency gain here of 11.28%. But the total return for this is 18.85%. Now, I've said this before that, if you're looking to invest in dividends and you're looking to generate a passive income, obviously, you limit yourself on the kind of company you can actually buy. They have to be dividend-paying companies, which means that the likes of Amazon or Tesla won't end up in your portfolio. But I think if you're looking to invest money, you're looking to build wealth for the future, yes, the dividend amount is important. It's a nice number to have. But really, the most important number is the total return. So what do you actually get in terms of capital appreciation, share price increase, and so on and so forth. But for the purpose of this video, total return is 18.85%. The dividend income number is 4.36%, which I think is pretty healthy. Now, I have done some research on these companies. I'm just going to show you very quickly the rates for these. So if you look at IBM, which I've included in here, they're currently paying a 4.91% dividend. ExxonMobil 4.6%, Chevron 4.23%. You've got 3M just paying about just over 4% in dividends specifically. So I've tried to go for companies that are paying a high dividend rate, or at least have a decent dividend rate if you're going to hold them. And that really brings us on to the portfolio itself and the portfolio allocation. Like I said, I've back tested this because what I would like to do is to be able to provide a blue sky scenario. What might this be worth in, say, I don't know, 10, 15 years time? Why are we doing this? What benefit does it have in the future? Now, it would be very easy for me to say, well, if we can average 18.85%, and I will have a look at those numbers in a moment, this is what the portfolio will be worth. But I believe that backtesting the portfolio gives you a more realistic view of what the portfolio might actually perform like, and that way you can get into the asset allocation within your portfolio as well. So this is Portfolio Visualiser, and we're going to be using this to backtest this portfolio so we can get an idea of what the average performance would have been based on historical data. Now, this is going to use data from 1985 all the way up to 2022. It's £10,000 as capital. It's going to rebalance annually, but more importantly, it's going to reinvest the dividends. Okay, so you're not taking the dividends out and you're spending it, you're reinvesting the dividends so you can get compound interest on this. Now, this is the asset allocation within the portfolio. So 10 companies divided equally across those 10 companies. So 10% in each of them brings you up to that 100% allocation. If we then go analyze portfolios here, it then kicks this out, confirming what the allocation is. It also lists in a graph, or in a pie chart, I should say, all of the 10 companies that you hold. Now, what this is telling us is that if you look at the portfolio, the initial balance is going to be £10,000, and based on historic data, which is no indication to future performance, by the way, guys, the final balance for this portfolio, if you had a look at it between 2013 and 2022, will be £25,303. This is dollars here, but pounds is what we're going to go with. Now, this is really, really important because essentially what we want to do is we obviously want to grow our money, and dividend can be a really nice way of actually doing that. It could be a nice cherry on top of the cake. Now, obviously, we've reinvested the dividends here so we can actually get the benefit of compound interest. This doesn't mean that you can't take the income if you ever needed it, but for this purposes, I wanted to compound the interest and compound the dividend payments as well. So this altogether, and this is adjusted for inflation, this is the total return at this point, or on average, is 10.46%. If you wanted to inflation adjust this across that period of time, you're looking at 7.83% return. It also then talks about, the best years within the portfolio, also gives you the worst year as well. And I think you can see that down here. So over a 10-year period that you can see right here, it's had 3 negative years. It's got a negative year in 2015, minus 3.94, 2018, 8.71, then obviously 2020, because it was a bit of a difficult year with the lockdown, but only 1.5% really down in a loss. Now, you can have a further look into this if you ever use this tool. I don't have an affiliate link or anything for this, but it is an interesting one to actually use. You can play around the portfolio income, so on and so forth as well. But the reason why the back testing is really, really important is it gives you a good sense of, okay, what numbers might you use to, I guess, compound interest, or at least forecast for the future. Now, I don't want to be too ambitious, and this is one of the things that I think is really, really important here on YouTube. It's very, very easy for us to go back to the portfolio as it sits in Simply Wall Street and say, well, total year return right now is 18.85%. What happens if we did 18.85% every single year for the next 10 years and try to extrapolate? And I think that that is good in terms of trying to generate enthusiasm to invest. but I think as well, it may set you up for a little bit of disappointment. But let's have a look at the numbers anyway. So let's jump onto a compound interest calculator, and it's £10,000. And let's just say you are able to get 18.85% every single year. And let's just go for 10 years to start off with. We're not going to invest on a monthly basis, but we are going to compound this quarterly. Now, obviously, I haven't worked out what the ex-dividend dates for all of these companies are, whether they're paying quarterly or half yearly or just annually. You would have to do that a little bit further in your own research if you're trying to build a portfolio like this. And those are important because you want to know when the dividend payments are actually going to be coming out. But 10 years, let's calculate this. So £10,000 originally. In 10 years, if you were able to achieve on average 18.85%, your pot would be worth £63,000. So you're getting a £53,000 growth, just investment growth as a function of dividend payments and just total return, which is incredible, which is absolutely insane. But like I said, I think that 18.85 is, I guess, a little unrealistic. So let's go with what the back-tested data actually says. And the back-tested data gives us here an average return of 10.4%. I'm going to be a little bit skeptical and I'm going to round that down. I'm going to go with a 10% return over a 10-year period. So let's just have a look and see what those numbers actually look like. And here you go. So £26,000. So not too dissimilar to what we actually saw within the back-tested data right here in Portfolio Visualiser. 25,000 roughly. We're saying on the compound interest calculator 26. Obviously, that is not going to take into account any charges that you're going to incur as well as part of a portfolio. So let me know what you think of this, guys. Is this something that, you know, if you're looking at dividend investing and building a portfolio, do those companies make sense to you? What other companies would you have put in its stead? I haven't gone for the highest, well, I've tried to go for dividends that are paying a high dividend, but I've not gone for the highest numbers out there. Again, in the context of where we are right now, I believe in stability, particularly if you're just starting out. You want safe companies, you want to be able to manage your risk. The downside risk is managing that is very, very important, and not hanging your hopes on high returns the entire time, because it is a roller coaster, unfortunately, and there are ebbs and flows, there are ups and downs, and you have to be able to manage that. But the easier that you can make that journey on yourself, the better. And one of the best ways of doing that is by selecting solid companies. Hence why I've gone for dividend aristocrats, companies that are well established and have a long track record of paying dividends and increasing their dividends to their shareholders. Let me know what you think. Before you go, I do have some news. It's really, really exciting. The show with Channel 4 is going to be out this Thursday. It's going to be on Channel 4 for 8 p.m. May 5th. I have a behind the scenes video which will be landing tomorrow evening. So I hope you come along and actually have a look at that. You'll learn a little bit more about the show. You'll learn a little bit more about what it was like to actually film the show. I had a great time. It was amazing. And I hope that it comes across in the show. It's not all about me. There's Anita Rani, who has been a journalist for 20 odd years. She's amazing. I've got Anna White in the White House also with me. And she's got a massive podcast on Heart Radio. I mean, oh my God, it's the envy. I hope you watch it. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you watch the behind the scenes as well. I hope you enjoy that too. And I'm going to be doing Lorraine on Thursday morning. So maybe watch out for me on Thursday morning on Lorraine. But guys, thank you so much for being here. I will see you tomorrow and I will see you on Friday.